can't grab me like that. You can't grab me like that. Okay. Hey, wait, that's not how you arrest people. That's not how you arrest people.
ICE officials in Miramar today announcing the agency has arrested and deported more than 200 people convicted of crimes as well as convicted murderers.
We're able to work side by side as partners and not overreach as government to be able to go and remove the worst of the worst criminals.
Florida just found out who was really living next door. In a 10-day sting, federal agents and state police quietly moved through neighborhoods and pulled more than 230 suspects off the streets, including 54 convicted predators who were supposed to be gone years ago. Some had final deportation orders dating back over a decade. Others had double-digit arrest records and were still walking free around schools, parks, and apartment complexes like nothing had happened. Officials are calling it Operation Dirtbag. And in this video, we're breaking down how the sting worked, who these predators were, and how a system that was supposed to protect families let them hide in plain sight for so long.
Our job as law enforcement is to protect the most vulnerable. Democrats will tell you that that is the criminal illegal aliens who they have let run free in our communities.
His focus on getting foreign terrorist organizations such as MS-13 and TDA out of this country, and I'm grateful for his leadership that dirtbags like this are no longer in the United States of America.
We're able to work side by side as partners and not overreach as government to be able to go and remove the worst of the worst criminals.
On October 25, 2025, Immigration and Customs Enforcement launched what they called Operation Criminal Return. But DHS Secretary Kristi Noem had another name for it.
I call it Operation Dirtbag because these individuals were offenders, but not just offenders, they targeted.
The operation was different from typical ICE sweeps. This was a targeted manhunt for convicted criminals, specifically those who had already served time for abuse cases against children and were supposed to be long gone from the country.
These individuals should have never been in our country to begin with. The fact that they control deviance and now we've gotten them off of our streets, it's remarkable and we need to do more of it.
ICE Deputy Director Madison Sheehan laid out exactly what they found in those 10 days.
We have removed 54 predators, 164 offenders of crimes, 2 convicted murderers.
These were individuals who had already been through the criminal justice system, served their time, been ordered to leave the country by federal immigration judges, and somehow remained free in Florida communities for years afterward.
Anybody who hurts a child in this country should not be allowed to run free. Somebody who has a lot of young people in their family, I know firsthand it is our job to protect them.
Florida Department of Law Enforcement Commissioner Mark Glass didn't mince words when he addressed the press.
These are some of the worst murderers, convicted criminals that have been in and out of your community for a long time. These are the pure evil that is running around in our country, and we got to expel that from our country.
The federal government released detailed information about some of the individuals arrested during Operation Dirtbag, and the criminal histories are deeply disturbing.
ICE and Florida law enforcement announcing Operation Dirtbag, which may be even too nice a term for some of these individuals that they have taken into custody.
Take Sergio Velázquez Carnero, a 63-year-old man from Cuba. His criminal record includes convictions for lewd and lascivious assault on a contributing to the delinquency of a and multiple violations of required registration rules.
There are currently more than 170 registered offenders in Hillsborough County. Sheriff Chad Chronister says his teams are out arresting new offenders as well.
An immigration judge ordered him removed from the United States back in 2017, 8 years before he was finally arrested in this operation. Then there's Frank Rene Gachita Borges, 51, also from Cuba. He was convicted of lewd and lascivious abuse years of age in Miami and sentenced to 4 years in prison. After he served his time, an immigration judge ordered his removal in March 2022, but somehow, 3.5 years later, he was still living freely in Florida until Operation Dirtbag caught up with him. One of the most shocking cases was an individual who had been arrested 19 times since entering the United States. His crimes included homicide, assault on law enforcement officers, robbery, kidnapping, and sexual offenses. Another arrested in the operation, had multiple convictions. He had been arrested a total of 10 times before this operation finally took him off the streets. There was Vladimir Garcia, 48, from Cuba, whose rap sheet included possession of burglary tools, grand theft auto, possession, burglary, possession, loitering, resisting arrest, and lewd and lascivious battery on between 12 and 15 years old. And Saturnino Duran, a 69-year-old man from Cuba, who was convicted of lewd and lascivious behavior with a and had a final order of removal dating back to July 2020, more than 5 years before he was arrested in this operation.
Some of those crimes include sexual assault, possession of narcotics, and attempted premeditated murder, among others.
These were patterns of predatory behavior spanning years, sometimes decades, with multiple victims, multiple convictions, and multiple failures of the system to remove them from the country as ordered.
We're just going to make sure that they have integrity, that we're actually doing the vetting of the individuals who come into this country, that they want to be here for the right reasons, that they're not supporters of terrorists and organizations that hate America.
So how does someone with a final deportation order from 2012 remain free in Florida communities for over 13 years? How does a convicted arrested 19 times continue living in neighborhoods with...
This demented individual was in possession of 1 million images and videos of...
The answer lies in enforcement priorities and resource limitations that existed under previous administrations. Between January 2021 and January 2025, the Department of Homeland Security operated under policies that prioritized only certain categories of criminal cases for enforcement action.
But not only did they not hold him when he was arrested by the local authorities, he was released apparently on bond or promised to show up at court.
Many abusers with final removal orders simply weren't high enough on the priority list to warrant immediate action, even with their criminal histories.
He didn't show up at court, so Texas issued a warrant for his arrest. However, it is a no extradition warrant.
The reality is that ICE had approximately 6,000 deportation agents nationwide trying to enforce immigration law across an entire country. With limited resources, they had to make choices about which cases to pursue first.
On Tuesday, she says ICE agents moved in and arrested several people who were working on a construction job. She tells us this isn't the first time the agency's been spotted in the area.
And while many of these individuals were registered offenders with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, there wasn't always coordination between state registries and federal immigration enforcement.
I'm glad to see actually somebody's taking care of something. If they are here illegally, there's a right way and a wrong way to do it.
All of the individuals arrested in Operation Dirtbag had prior criminal convictions and had already served their sentences, but federal officials said many violated post-release requirements, including failing to report address changes or failing to depart the country as ordered. Operation Dirtbag unfolded across all 67 counties in Florida over those 10 days in late October and early November 2025. ICE agents didn't work alone. They partnered with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement and local law enforcement agencies throughout the state.
Their efforts and the many other local, state, and federal agencies that partner every day with ICE across the state of Florida demonstrate the power of teamwork.
The scale of the operation was unprecedented. More than 230 arrests in 10 days meant an average of 23 people being taken into custody every single day across the state. The operation targeted individuals with existing criminal convictions and final removal orders. These were people who immigration judges had already determined should be deported, but who had remained in the country, in some cases for over a decade after those orders were issued.
We go after the worst of the worst criminals. We have many targeting apparatuses for us to be able to identify, use our intelligence, and work and piggyback with the state of Florida from the knowledge that they have on the ground.
The operation was coordinated through ICE's Miami field office, but involved law enforcement agencies from every corner of the state, from the Panhandle to the Keys, from Jacksonville to Tampa to Miami.
Those are called absconders, and you will see us put arrest warrants affidavits on them. So that's coming soon for those folks.
Governor Ron DeSantis, who was scheduled to attend the press conference announcing the results, but got stuck with airplane trouble.
From day one, Governor DeSantis understood the all-hands-on-deck approach in this 287G program would be instrumental in the success of the program.
He released a statement praising the operation. Through Operation Criminal Return, hundreds of the most dangerous illegal criminal aliens with horrific criminal histories, including crimes against children, are off our streets and will be out of our country soon. Florida has been the most aggressive state in America on combating illegal immigration, and our state and local law enforcement agencies are doing more every day to be the federal government's greatest tool in the fight to enforce immigration law. Secretary Noem emphasized that this operation was a model for what she wanted to replicate across the country.
So again, I want to thank Governor DeSantis. I want to thank the state of Florida for this historic partnership that we're able to have with 287G and how successful Operation Dirtbag has been.
The success of Operation Dirtbag was attributed to something called the 287G program, a controversial partnership between federal immigration enforcement and local police that has become one of the most debated aspects of immigration policy in America.
An unwavering commitment of our law enforcement agency partners through ICE's 287G program, designed to protect our communities and uphold the rule of law.
The 287G program gets its name from Section 287G of the Immigration and Nationality Act, passed back in 1996. It allows ICE to delegate certain federal immigration enforcement duties to state and local law enforcement officers. Essentially, it turns local police and sheriff's deputies into immigration agents.
It allows the agencies to identify and process removable aliens with criminal charges, enforce some immigration authorities, and execute warrants on removable aliens in jail.
Florida has been at the forefront of expanding this program. The first 287G agreement in the entire country was actually signed by the Florida Department of Law Enforcement way back in 2002, but the program really exploded in 2025. Florida had 325 active 287G agreements with law enforcement agencies across the state, a 577% increase since January 2025. That's more than any other state in the nation.
The state of Florida has truly put up historic numbers of support for our 287G program, with over 4,700 officers statewide.
The program operates through 3 different models. The jail enforcement model allows officers to interrogate people already in custody about their immigration status and issue detainers to hold them for ICE after they complete their criminal sentences. The warrant service officer model trains jail staff to serve ICE administrative warrants on people already in detention. And the task force model, the most controversial, allows local police officers to enforce immigration law during routine street patrols and traffic stops. It was this partnership, specifically Florida's aggressive expansion of 287G agreements, that made Operation Dirtbag possible. ICE Deputy Director Madison Shahan explained the importance of these partnerships.
We're able to work side by side as partners and not overreach as government to be able to go and remove the worst of the worst criminals.
The federal government has backed up this partnership with serious funding. ICE announced financial awards to 287G partners in Florida, totaling over $38 million, including $7.3 million in equipment funding for nearly 1,000 local officers and $27.5 million for 3,676 state-level officers. Local agencies receive $7,500 per trained officer to offset equipment costs like laptops and cell phones, plus $100,000 for vehicles and transportation. They also get reimbursement for the annual salary and benefits of each officer engaged in immigration enforcement. But the program has fierce critics. The American Civil Liberties Union and immigrant advocacy groups argue that 287G agreements undermine community trust in local police, expose local governments to costly litigation for constitutional violations, and essentially deputize local officers to act as federal immigration agents with minimal training.
We're at the beginning of a long journey together. Our law enforcement officers are being threatened, shot at in the state of Texas, trying to murder us. We're not backing down in the state of Florida.
The program has become a cornerstone of the state's approach to immigration enforcement, and Operation Dirtbag showed exactly what that approach looks like in action. For the 54 and 164 arrested in this operation, and more importantly, for their potential future victims, the 287G program meant that years of evading federal enforcement finally came to an end. The individuals arrested are now in federal custody awaiting deportation. Many will be sent to immigration detention facilities, and some may end up at the controversial Alligator Alcatraz Detention Center in the Florida Everglades. a facility built specifically to house people awaiting deportation in one of the most remote and inhospitable locations in the state.
So Alligator Alcatraz is actually funded by a FEMA grant that the Biden administration used to bring aliens into this country. We're using it to remove criminal illegal aliens.
FDLE Commissioner Mark Glass even issued a warning to others in similar situations.
This is a free state of Florida. You could come here and enjoy yourself all day long, but you're not going to enjoy it on the expense of others. We will expel you from there. I suggest the only thing you can control is volunteer yourself to come to this ICE station right here in Miramar, volunteer to deport, and one of my agents will walk you to the airport and get you out of here.
So that's how Operation Dirtbag exposed 54 predators and 164 offenders hiding in plain sight across Florida. The operation proved that aggressive enforcement partnerships can remove dangerous criminals from communities, but it also raised questions about how they evaded detection for so long. Will this model spread nationwide? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more investigative coverage like this.